Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 23 of the You Are My Oxford podcast. We're sponsored by Nutmeg, of course, the nostalgic football game.
Matt, welcome back after having a little bunking off in the last episode.
Busy,
That's how
busy man.
It was a lovely episode, though, the last one, our Milk Cup anniversary special, which was an absolute beauty. Lots of previously unheard stories from that day and from, of course, Peter Rhodes Brown. And with him, Matt, as you well know, because I'm sure you've listened, we ranked the stars of 1986 in today's value. Please take a watch or listen if you haven't already. It is a belter.
Absolute belter. Please do. Yeah, I'm very, very sorry I missed that. But I enjoyed the interview. I enjoyed all the other content that the club did as well. And we'll be delving a bit into that as well. But Dan, I guess we're calling this the emergency podcast, the emergency relegation podcast, are we?
I don't think we are, Matt. I think in all honesty, as we'll discuss shortly, I think the writing's been on the wall for a few games. And you know what? I am just about okay with it.
I think a lot of people are at peace with it. I guess we're going to have to talk a bit about the 4 games since we last spoke. Sheffield Wednesday, which was quite fun in the end. Wrexham, not so fun. Derby, not so fun. Watford, we'll speak a bit about that.
We'll do a proper season debrief after Millwall. I've got a great idea in mind for that episode. But Theo is going to join us today, and he's going to give us a few stats covering what went wrong and what went right this year compared to last year. But he's delivering it, Matt, with a little twist.
I love that. But Dan, you know what? I think our fans need cheering up a bit. So I think we should look back a bit to happier times. And we have another guest listener to talk about one of the best seasons ever. And this is an absolute, we used the word before, but belter. This is a proper epic interview.
It's really, really lovely. 10 years since that glorious team of 2015-16, and we're going to be joined by Chey Dunkley, the scorer of that header, and genuinely one of the loveliest men in football.
Yeah, looking forward to that one, Dan, very much so.
And Matt, I thought as well, we'll just have a little chat with you about 1986, because we missed you so much in the last episode.
As always, listeners, a lot to squeeze in. Let's run that sting.
Our championship adventure is now officially over. We'll have a proper end-of-season review show coming up in a couple of weeks where we're going to delve right into the nitty-gritty of what went wrong. But Matt, just touch on it now. Where has it gone wrong for us?
I think there was quite a bit of hope, wasn't there, 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I think in the end, if I'm honest, we've just run out of puff a bit and given ourselves a bit too much to do. I think, obviously Bloomfield came in, took a while to kind of get his feet, in place and get the team that he wanted. And then eventually he did. And he really stuck on a kind of an 11 who were great. But then it's just too much to do, isn't it? And I just think a few players looking at Donnelly kind of just run out of puff a bit and just gave themselves too much to do. And it's a consequence of just kind of playing catch up from the start of the season, really. We will delve into this in a lot more detail, but just, losing against Portsmouth, our first home game of the season. And then it was just we're always playing catch up. And so, in the end, it's all a bit of a shame, but as you say, I'm kind of cool with it, and we move on now.
We do move on. I think when we do the great shakedown, I think there'll be a lot of finger pointing at that late goal we conceded at Portsmouth, because if we'd beaten them that day, that they were on a terrible, terrible run. And that late goal just gave them such a boost, because they've gone on a great run since then and climbed clear of safety, whereas it robbed us of 2 points. And just ever since then, it's just been difficult.
That really kind of knocked the wind out of our sails, didn't it? Because if we'd held on to that would have been such a huge win. But we've never really, since that moment, we've never really looked ourselves, I'd say.
We've had moments. We had the Watford game, which we're going to touch on in a second. And by all means, talk about yesterday, which sounds like it was a lot of fun. I decided I wasn't going to go in the morning. I just thought, I've got I could earn some brownie points, stay at home, and do all the jobs that I've been promising to do. So I was leveling the
Oh,
lawn
I love
yesterday,
that. And
listening to
you'd have been
yesterday.
hoping that we were going to end up going to Millwall next weekend with something to play for, and it just didn't work out in the end, did it? It was a really weird, strange afternoon, and one that I'll always kind of remember because everyone was kind of outside the ground before, kind of obviously tuning into the Charlton game and into the Baggies game, hoping, and then when Hull pulled that goal back just before half time, there was a really like bit of a buzzy atmosphere, and then it just obviously all fell completely flat. And I don't think anyone really wanted the game that was to come against Sheffield Wednesday to kind of go ahead because like, what's the point? But the players came out, the fans started singing, and it just turned into this incredible party, which was very nice. And it was a lovely afternoon, and the sun was shining, and you know what? Everyone was very much kind of feeling a bit more positive about things, and obviously the players put on a good display with kind of no pressure and a lovely few goals, lovely few goals, and you love to see that, don't
Absolute
you?
banging goals. I mean, and I always you always get games like this at the end of the season. I don't even remember a few years. Well, I say a few years ago, 30 odd years ago, Matt. The last day of the season when we beat Stockport
Yeah,
5-0, but we'd already been relegated
yeah, that was weird,
beforehand.
wasn't it?
And again, the players put on the right shows. It's amazing what happens when the
I
pressure is
know that's
off,
what.
and when you're playing against a team with minus
Yeah,
three
there is that as
points.
well. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Shall we chat about kind of Wrexham and Derby as a whole, really, where it just didn't quite work out? And again, before both games, Dan, there was a lot of
Mm.
optimism. I've never heard you so optimistic. You text me ahead of the Derby game saying, "I'm calling it. We're winning today," and you've never done that.
Must have been. I was in Kyrgyzstan on the work trip, which is it's quite a long way away. Must have had a bit of Kyrgyzstani brandy or something, just to. Um, yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't know. I just suddenly felt that we were going to win it. And then listened to it on the radio, and it was yeah, fairly non-eventful, and we didn't really sound like we turned up. And then obviously I got back just in time, and I thought, okay, I am definitely going to go to Wrexham. I took a friend along, and it was, I don't know, I mean, the crowd were
Mm,
good. It wasn't the full
mm.
on like experience it has been in some games recently. But the crowd were trying, but I think there was a kind of an air of resignation. It's like we were trying as a group of fans to muster some real kind of wild enthusiasm and excitement. And it just, yeah, maybe it was like the team didn't start playing that well, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Everything just felt, when you just feel subconsciously, yeah, this is all a bit flat and it's not happening. And to be fair, Wrexham looked like a decent, solid team, and we had a little bit of pressure. Imaku made a huge difference when he came on, which I was really pleased about because he's obviously had a hard start to his life at Oxford.
Yeah, yeah, it's good
Um,
signs for him actually heading towards next season. But I think I
really good.
messaged you after the game and said, and this is how it felt to me, and I wasn't there, but we could have kept playing for all night and we wouldn't have scored. It felt like kind of one of those games, really. But there have been bright moments, and the joy we all felt when Mark Harris kind of sealed that victory against Watford. I think just looking at the other game of the four, that was a lovely moment.
It was a lovely moment. So happy for him as well. Yeah, and I think we had a bit of hope at that point as well because it was such an uplifting performance. I think, as we've seen, though, I mean, from Watford's recent results, they were literally beach
It
central, weren't
really
they? They
was.
were they were in their speedos and drinking
Yeah.
cocktails. Yeah.
Listen, Dan, we'll do a proper debrief, a deep dive into where it all went wrong. We'll be speaking about Indonesia, I'm sure. We'll be speaking about Gary Rowell. We'll be speaking about money. We'll be speaking about players. But are you a glass half full or half empty man heading into League One?
Well, that's an interesting one. I think looking at the nucleus of the squad we've got, I'm quite glass half
Mm,
full. I'm seeing the makings of a decent League One
I
team
agree.
there. I'm worried, Matt.
Money.
It won't surprise you to hear this. I'm a bit worried about us
Yeah.
financially. I think, there are going to be some severe restrictions on what we're allowed to spend. So I'm expecting quite a clear out of players, probably including ones we don't necessarily want
I
to
don't.
sell. But I think as a fan base, we have to be realistic here and say, we are quite heavily in debt. There's going to be quite severe restrictions on what we're allowed to spend. Our wage bill is going to be reasonably high. I'm sure most of our players are on a clause that means they'll be getting, more League One
Mm,
wages following our relegation. I hope. But yeah, I think we are going to have to do some serious selling.
yeah.
And as we've discussed in the past, the players that we don't want aren't going to have many suitors, whereas the players we do want to keep are probably the ones who are going to attract bids, and we are probably as a club going to have to seriously think about
Yeah.
accepting those. So yeah, I think next year is going to be very
Very
interesting.
interesting. I did hear a
Mm.
couple of rather worrying financial stories on Saturday, but I think to your point, there's going to be some players who we do not want to go who will end up going, and then where does that leave the squad? But as you say, we've made a few signings in January that have maybe put us in a good position as a League One squad heading into next season. Right, Dan, let's speak about happier times. Come on. Because this week marked 40 years since Oxford lifted the Milk Cup, of course. And Dan, it was lovely to see the content from the club. They'd really, kind of thought about it, and lovely as ever to see all of the, or a lot of the team return. Just seeing Trevor Hebbard and Kevin Brock and little Les Phillips together and chatting, and it was just beautiful. But Dan, I think my favourite bit of content was your interview with Rosie, and I spoke to a few people at the game yesterday who came up to me and goes, "Dan's interview with Rosie was amazing," and one person came up to me and goes, "I've known Rosie for 30 years. There was stories in there I have never heard." How did you tease it out of him, Dan?
I don't know. I've known him for a few years, actually, Peter Rose Brown. He's such a lovely guy. I did some filming with him way back in the conference days, and we've kind of been friends ever since. So I don't know. I think he trusts me. I know he's a big fan of the podcast. So, yeah, I don't know. I said to him, have you got any stories you haven't told before? Because, he's quite a storyteller, is Rosie. And I always, I love when you talk to old players, but you sometimes get the impression they've told these stories 100 million times before. But yeah, I like to think we've got a few interesting little gems out of him. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but do please have a listen if you haven't
Yeah,
had a listen
listener, if
already.
you haven't, please go and watch it. Go and have a listen. He was in really good form. Dan got loads of great bits out of it, and everyone seems to love the ticket touting stories.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's a
Uh,
lovely one. Lovely little twist. You can imagine him standing outside with half
yeah.
cut from the boys.
But I thought the
Um,
club did really well this week. The content was, they'd obviously put a lot of effort in. 40 years is a momentous moment, and it was great to see, in-depth interviews with the likes of kind of Malcolm Shott and Kevin Brock and Les Phillips.
yeah, really, really lovely stuff. And it's like, I know there is, for so many Oxford fans, this is something that happened, way before they were even born. But I think it's such an important part of our history as a
Yeah.
club. Yeah. So I've absolutely loved all the content this week. And it's also triggered, Matt, a little bit of correspondence. We love a bit of correspondence to our podcast. You can contact us on email. The email's at the end of the podcast, or on Facebook or wherever. Anyway, it came from Steve Mozza Morris. He says, I was watching the Milk Cup final with my lad this week, and I told him a story about what happened to me in 1986. I set the video recorder to record the final from TV, then set off to Wembley. When I got back from Wembley that day, I planned to watch it all over again. And I think I must have watched it maybe 100 times until my dad's girlfriend one day got hold of the tape and somehow recorded over it with, Mac, get this, Fergie and Prince Andrew's wedding. Of all
All
the
the
things,
things.
of course, What my lad couldn't believe is that meant I couldn't watch this game for at least 10 years until the club decided to release the video again. There was, of course, no YouTube back in those days. Um,
That's brilliant.
so, yeah, of all the things to have it recorded over by, he carries on. Another memory of the day was there was an empty seat next to me at Wembley, which I thought was a bit strange. Anyway, halfway through the game, a bloke turned up, walking up the stairs very gingerly, and he sat down next to me, and he had a medal round his neck. He had just run the London Marathon that morning, because it was, of course,
Today,
London
wasn't it?
Marathon, as it is indeed
Yes,
today,
it is.
at the time of
Lovely
recording.
little tale. And actually, Steve came up to me yesterday, just before the game, and told me that he'd send you this message. And I said I'd give him a little nod and mention on the pod today. But love that story. But yeah, there's been lots of nice little bits like that, memories that have come up this week, which is always lovely.
Whatever happened to Fergie and Prince
Who
Andrew?
knows? Well, you know what? This relegation special, Dan, is turning into quite a happy show. Way happier than I thought. And listener, viewer, we are going to take you back to happier times once again, Dan, aren't we?
We are indeed, Matt. Earlier on this week, when yet again you managed to not be available, I had the great privilege of sitting down with Chey Dunkley. The big man delivered on the big occasion. Listen, I'm delighted to say we're being joined on the You Are My Oxford podcast by one of my favourite players of all time and a key part of one of the greatest Oxford United teams of all time. Chey Dunkley, welcome to the You Are My Oxford podcast. Thank you.
No, thanks for having me, Dan. I know it's been a long time coming, but yeah, finally here. So yeah.
Genuinely, Shay, I loved watching you in the yellow shirt. I can't think of a player who learned and developed so quickly in front of our eyes. You went from a player come out of non-league, really bit nervous in your first season, I hope you don't mind me saying, into
Yeah.
being this colossus, right?
Yeah.
A colossus who was brilliant on the ball and scored vital goals. Is that how you remember your time as a time of like real development?
Yeah. You know what? I come from Kidderminster Harriers, and I just remember because I'd been playing a lot of games there. Michael Appleton, Gaffer. I like to call my gaffers gaffers. Got loads of respect for Michael. He brought me in the season where it was in January. So, you know, I was training with the team. We were like mid-table in League Two. And, you know, as a young player and coming from a team that I was playing for week in, week out, and the year before we just missed out on getting promoted to League Two, finishing second to Mansfield. You know, I just thought I wanted to play. Now, in short, not going to take you through all the disappointments and so forth, but I think it was right timing. Like the gaffer just breeded an animal. I swear down. I got so frustrated that I played a few games and, you know, I had a bit of taste of it and then I was out. And that was where you're saying that, you know, maybe a bit nervous, new team and so forth. But then I got to a point mentally where I was like, you know what, I'm stronger, faster than, you know, some of the players I was playing with. And that's no disrespect to some of them because they were far ahead of me, had more experience, and had been good players for Oxford. So in my head, I was thinking, oh, I should be playing, but it probably wasn't right for me at the time. But I just got my head down and you know, at the time of when I actually got my second chance, I didn't turn back because I was so, not frustrated, but the emotions of wanting to do well was just so high because I was frustrated that I didn't play.
I heard an interview with John Mullins in which he described you as a sponge. Right, in the,
Yeah.
just for information, you're constantly asking questions and, trying to improve your game. Is that fair? Is
Yeah.
that what you were?
Yeah. Moles, I was in a car school with Moles, and he was a great senior pro for me. So was Skip as well, Jake Wright. But because I probably spent a little bit more times with Moles, because of, you know, we were traveling from Birmingham way. So I was fortunate to be in a car school with him. and Kemal Roof. And we were literally, going 1.5 hours to Oxford and back. So I got an extra hour and a half with Moores, and I would be asking him questions like, where have you played, and what do you do with this? And when the ball's in the box, am I meant to, get contact? You get contact early? Do you just mark the space? And he was definitely a great senior player to have around. But him being so helpful for me in my development, and also helping me to become part of the player that I am today, just shows me or demonstrates the importance what I should be doing for the younger players today. Does that make sense? So
Totally, yeah.
because he was a good senior to me, I'm now and make sure that I'm a good senior for some of the young centre halves that I'm playing alongside now.
When you joined, you said mid-table. To be honest, we were a little bit below. We were having quite a hard time. There's a lot of kind of unrest about Michael Appleton, who'd obviously joined the club without much of a reputation, I think it's fair to say. The team was struggling, but then things just started to change. Like, suddenly you could see things formulating. What do you remember about the club when you first joined, first of all? I guess that's my first question, because
Yeah.
it was a team that, was struggling, definitely.
Like I said, it went through a bit of I think it was definitely in a transition phase. So when the gaffer come to the club, prior, obviously before me, I could see that he was doing things and trying to make the club better. He was really big on the All Blacks and really big on responsibility, accountability, discipline, the no dickheads rule. And he was really big with that, Michael Appleton. And I think his high standards as a man, as a person, was just transferred to the group. So I think that's important for success, because how you are off the pitch and how you're operating, you really have a respect of everyone's roles and jobs and responsibilities on the field. And if you need to get your mate out of the SHIT, you will go that extra yard for your teammate. So there was a lot of things happening at the time, if I can remember. There's obviously other things, but I know it was going through a transition. I was just happy to be a part of it, because we could see that we was going to get to League One at some point.
Suddenly, good players started joining. We had, obviously, yourself. We had George Baldock. How good was he, by the way? We had Kemal
Rest in
Roof,
peace,
who
pal.
joined. Yeah. And Alex McDonald. I mean, some serious players. I mean, tell me what you remember about those three signings joining the club.
So yeah, we'll start with Maka. Maka was funny. He's definitely part of the old school when it comes to players, and he probably could be on, like, under the cosh, because he'll have stories for days. And again, he played in the Prem with Burnley, and he had his own story. And he was a big character in the dressing room. And he scored some good goals as well, to be fair to him. He was just, like, so strong as well. Lovely man, lovely guy. And he was infectious because of his energy. He was like a ball of energy there, and he literally brought a lot of energy to our team. We talk about, obviously, Kemal Roof, superstar, got him on loan from West Brom at the time, a young Kemal Roof, and had the ability, hence why he went to Rangers, went to Leeds, Anderlecht, etc. But the timing of when we got him, again, through the connections with Michael Appleton being at West Brom, he probably was, I'd say, a bit better than the standard, at the time. He was actually a player that we looked to get, something special if it was a tight game. And I just remember the game at Bristol Rovers away, and the goal that he scored, where it's almost like on a side foot half volley. I don't know what it was. It was outrageous the goal that he scored, and it was, it was away. It was away anyway at Bristol Rovers. And some of the goals that he had moments against Newcastle or Swansea, and not Newcastle, it's Swansea.
Yeah.
Where he scored. It was a great goal. I think I was on the bench, and it was played to Mags. I think Mags plays an unbelievable Chris Maguire. I think it's Mags. He plays a through ball, and the touch to put it away is just outstanding. And that was just, you could see that he had the opportunity, like, you know, he would definitely get to the championship, and very unfortunate to not play in the Prem, because, you know, it was written in the stars for him to play in the Prem. And then obviously we talk about George Baldock, you know, rest in peace, his soul. Lovely person. We got him on loan from MK Dons, and his buzz, his energy, he was like, you know, up and down for a fullback. And the distances he was covering on the pitch was second to none. Again, for him to go from not playing in the MK Dons side to come on loan to us, and we thought, how comes he's not playing for MK Dons? I know there was a division higher than us, but I just thought, how is he not playing? And he then goes to MK Dons. He, you know, ripped it up, and then he gets his move to the other side of Sheffield, which you're not going to talk about. But he was an unbelievable servant for them. But again, it doesn't. It epitomizes his work rate, him as a player, and he actually did get to the Premier League and ended up being a cult hero at the Blade. So, you know, good to be a part. I'm very fortunate to be a part of his history, because, you know, it was unfortunate how he passed away so young, leaving a family behind, and it did shock us. Yeah, God bless his soul, man. Rest in peace, Joe Baldock.
Amen. I think we could tell by the end of that season, things were really clicking into shape. Then we had the pre-season tour, the Austria tour. There was the game, wasn't there, against, I can't remember which team it was, Niederwörstadt or something.
The game.
And
Was
loads
that?
of fans like thousands of fans turned up.
Yeah,
with-
Sorry. I apologize. That's just rekindled a memory. That was brilliant. That was good, because we generally felt the energies with the fans. Like, I think at the end of the game, I think it was like an Astro or like a plastic pitch. It wasn't a great pitch to play on. It was so hot. I think it was like a 4G, and if you can imagine how sticky the pitch was. But at the end of the last game, that we had a game there, and when the fans were come onto the pitch, and we actually had a picture with the fans.
Literally two more jaw-dropping signings we made that summer. We had John Lundstrom, we had Liam Sercombe. What a midfield that is. What a midfield that is.
Yeah. Serky, goals for days. He scored some stupid goals, and he had an engine on him. It's mad, because he didn't do any gym or anything like that. He was just, you know, like some players are just built to play football, and that was Cirks. And he used to just, you know, he was a proper 8, if you like. And he used to just get forward a little bit more. So he was very offensive minded, but a character off the pitch as well. You know, dry humour. That's what I used to get from him. And yeah, goals for days, I'd say, about Cirks. And I've met him over the years, obviously playing against some of the teams that he's played for, and kept in touch with him. But he's a good guy. Johnny Lundstrom obviously hit the heights of what I expected him to hit. Getting him from Everton, always played it. Any young players from Everton are like, they're built different. Do you know what I mean? They've got that edge to him and got a bit of bite to him. And he did come with that. So he was like almost an all-round midfielder, a bit like Gerrard. You know, did a bit of the tackling, the dirty work, but also could get forward and pick up a few goals. And I actually labelled him the spray can, because he used to get the ball and just hit diags that I could only dream about hitting. But Lunny was special. I knew he would go on to, and it's easy to say, I knew he would go on to something, but maybe because he had a good pedigree at Everton, maybe because he had represented all age groups up until the 21s with England, I want to say. He'd been with good players, so I knew that he was going to get to where he needed to get to.
I want to talk about you now, because you've been brilliant about talking about other people. But there was a game, it was just after Christmas, I think. It was away at Yeovil, and I think you came on, and it was the first time I really saw you be the player that you went on to become. I don't even remember it at all, but you came on, you were absolutely brilliant. It wasn't just you're defending everything, but every time you got the ball, you were so comfortable on it. And all your passes, I said to my brother, look at Chey Dunkley. He's like, he's turned into like this incredible passer of the football and stuff.
Yeah.
And then after that, you were undroppable. So what happened? What happened in those like 6 months where you're kind of, on the edges of the team, and then suddenly you became this like colossus?
Yeah, I briefly remember that game. Was it away? It was away,
It
wasn't
was,
it, at your?
yeah.
I was always making sure that and I know it's cliche, you try and play that game as if it's going to be your last, because I was a fringe player. So when I'm playing against Yeovil, I didn't, I wasn't I'm thinking, I might not get another game. So I've got to make sure that I keep it simple. One of the big things that Michael Appleton said to me is to simplify the game, which is, once you've got the ball and you've got your pictures, make sure that you're got your picture before you've received the ball, and have a thought process of what you're going to do with the ball before getting it. And I used to just say, yeah. But it actually clicked that, okay, get myself in a position. Once I get myself in a position, am I finding my fullback? Am I finding my six? And it started to come natural and get a bit, I got better at it as it come. I always didn't understand when Michael Appleton used to be on the side and never used to say much. He never used to say much, and he was very quiet on the side when the game's happening, very cool and composed. And I was like, if he can see something, because I'm younger, like, why does he not just say what? But I feel like now I'm looking at it, I feel like he prepared the team that well throughout the week that he felt like he didn't have to say anything. And the only time he would, not necessarily didn't say anything at all, but he would only give a few informations or little props to if it was tactical consideration for the opposition. But for me, that helped because, sometimes when you've got a manager that's trying to play you like FIFA and telling you do this, do that, you're not making your own mind up, and then you don't believe in a pass or so I think that helped me. I think that's probably the change. He said, simplify your game, have a picture before receiving the ball. I'm not going to tell you how to defend because you've built all this experience from your crew days to where you are now. You know how to defend 1v1. You know how to defend 2v1 or 2v2. So that should come natural. But on the ball, just nice, composed, relaxed, and have a picture. And there was more to that. We did passing drills. We did, um, tactical work in small groups and so forth. But that did help me and develop me. But you always go better and play better when you surround yourself with better players.
You were pretty much undroppable after that, and that's really saying something with Mullins and Jake Wright as competition. But you played pretty much the rest of that season, and you had a day out at Wembley where all sorts was happening. Right? You tell the story of your day at Wembley in the JPT. Wearing the shirt and you're on that.
I scored at Wembley. Well, it was in my own net. No, it was a fantastic day out. So I'll talk about, obviously, we got to Wembley twice consecutively. So we'll talk about the first time when we got there, when we played Barnsley, who was a league above. At the time, it was in League One, we was in League Two. Obviously, I found myself in a position in like an offensive position, of course. And no one was really expecting it from me, but I knew what I was doing. And I ended up putting out a nice Cruyff that's obviously people remember at Wembley. And I tried to pull it back or pull it across the goal for Roofy, and it got cut out, I think. But, from the highs to the lows, I think later on in the game, it was a ball that was possibly going to go to winner. And I think with where he was and how he was scoring, and he was prolific, I think if I didn't get there, he would have ended up finishing it. And I ended up putting it in my own net, which was, at the time, I felt horrible because I was like, this is a time for me to, we're at the biggest stage, a time to win a trophy, because it got real for us when we got to the semi-finals. Before that, no disrespect to the competition, we were using it as just, make sure we get good performances and getting good form for the league. But once you get to the semi-finals, it's like, hey, this could be actually a day out for not just us, but our fans to Wembley. And then the following year, we got there again. And this time we were favourites. I know it was against Coventry, who's just got promoted to the Premier League, but they were in a world of trouble. They just got relegated from League One to League Two, and we went in there thinking, yeah, we're gonna beat these, because I think we were on the cusp of getting playoffs, so we were around that 7th, 8th position. We were a young squad at the time, but we thought, yeah, we're going to win it this year. Last year, okay, no problem. You know, maybe not pushing our luck, but we're going against a higher opposition. But this time, we was going against an opposition that we thought we should have won, and we should have, really. But mindset was wrong. We went in there thinking, oh yeah, Coventry's already relegated. You know, we've been here before. But they had nothing to lose, and they had everything to gain in terms of winning a trophy. And I think they end up scoring, and we probably had, if I remember, we were pushing on and we're trying to get the goal, but it was just a bit too late. And they ended up winning like fairly. They scored a good goal against us, to be fair, but you know, we ended up losing that game, which wasn't nice. That was worse than the first year because there was an expectancy to win it.
I want to talk about happy things. I've forgotten those 2 games now, honestly. Let's talk about those last games of the promotion season. There was a 2-0 away win at Carlisle. 3,000 plus Oxford fans have made the trip up there, including myself. An absolute nightmare journey for me, but worth every single day.
Yeah.
What a day that was.
Yeah.
You remember that? Remember that day?
Massive. It was a massive pitch. I remember just celebrating in the bottom corner with our fans, and we knew we'd won the game. Horrible place to go, Carlisle. So far away, massive pitch. It was a hot day as well, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so it was a tough place to go at the time. I can remember vaguely, it might have been Cirques who scored, and once we scored, he just went over to the fans and was running to the fans, and we was like, yeah, we're onto something here. So,
well, let's talk about the game then, which actually, I mean, you are immortalised in Oxford folklore because of the Wickham game. It also features, your goal features in our title montage of our podcast. So you are the most mentioned person ever in the history of our podcast, because every episode the goal gets mentioned with the commentary. The commentary goes, it's the big man with the big goal on the big occasion. Doesn't mention you by name, unfortunately, but you are the big man.
No, I've heard it. You know what? I am so appreciative of, you know, yes, I've went on to score the first goal, because remember, it's not I'd scored the first goal, but there was some goals in there as well afterwards. Callum O'Dowd had definitely scored in that. He got the third one. Chris Maguire got the second one.
Yeah, penalty.
Yeah. So I know you know, the Oxford fans always talk about that goal, and I think it was probably important because it was the first goal, and we wasn't getting promoted. We weren't in the automatics at that point, and I think it was around the 60-minute mark that I scored.
Yeah.
But, and I know I'm very modest, but this is very, very important to say. And if you watch this goal back, the skip, as in Jake Wright, does wonders for that goal. Unsung hero. He actually blocks my marker, and it was off experience. He knew that I was going to go and win that header, but the person marking me, Aaron Pierre, who's a big unit as well, was really good at stopping. You know, when he marks you in the box, if he gets hold of it, you ain't get, even me, you can't get nowhere. But if you watch that goal back, the skip looks at my marker and deliberately blocks him, but does it so cute that gives me the space to go and head the ball. So watch it back, and you heard it here first, innit?
Hey man, you are the most modest guy in the whole world.
Now, honestly, you've got to watch it back. It's not being modest. Anybody who knows me about football and the dark arts of the game, which is like all those cute things that people don't actually see, you know, like those little tugs and pushes and stuff like that to impede. The ref doesn't really see it, but I'm a fiend for that. So I call it the dark arts of football, and that was part of that, and I think Skip done really well there. Honestly, if you watch it back, you'll know what I mean.
Listen, I love the fact you're sharing the credit out, but that was a header and a half though as well, right? That is a serious header. I don't think I've ever
Yeah,
headed like that in my life, right? I think
no,
my
it
neck
was
would
good. Yeah.
fall off, man. It was great.
No, it was good. I know you mentioned about obviously having the shirt on and so forth. And listen, I am a fan. I am now a fan of Oxford. Not just Oxford, obviously previous clubs as well. Always watch out. Still got an opportunity to stay up.
Slim chance.
Slim, but
Yeah.
you never know. You never know. But no, honourable mention to Sam Long as well, because he was a young player when I was there, and he's been a servant to that club, to Oxford, and he's done really well. To be a one club man as well is really good. There's not many of them as well. But it's not quite. I've got a shirt. It's not quite the season shirt because it was the year after, but it's only the shirt that I could get. So,
Yeah.
but I've actually got a picture. I don't know if you can see this of me
No.
scoring, and it's the wrong shirt. I know, so I don't want no stick, but that's me scoring that goal that you're talking about. That's me getting pulled by, I think, Helton pulling me by the neck there, but it's only his hand. So yeah, that is the shirt of
That's a beautiful thing.
me scoring.
What a team that was, what a season that was, and what a brilliant ending to the season. If that team hadn't gone up, it would have been a travesty. How do you
Yeah.
reflect on that team?
It was a really good team, and the team spirit was massive. I felt like when you have success with a team, I was, as you said, I started to play late in the later stages of the season. Um, and, to just be a part of that team, for me it's another promotion. Not many players go through their career. Not loads of players can get promotions in their careers point blank. Some players just go through their whole career and don't get a promotion. So to have success with that group of lads, and what they say in football as well is the players that you have success with are usually the players that you stay in contact with. And I have stayed in contact with a lot of those players. So yeah, like listen, I'm fortunate. Say fortunate. Yes, I'm happy, and it was a pleasure playing in that squad, and obviously under the coaching staff as well, because it's not just the players who play, and the players. It's everyone from chef to strength and conditioning coach to the doctor, the coaching staff. Everyone plays their part, and it sounds cliche, even the fans, because if we don't get that spur on, where, come on, lads, we need the goal, you do really feel it as a player, like, actually, like, you find that extra 5 and 10%. So one thing I will say is that when it's rocking at the Kazam Stadium, I don't know if it's still called, is it still called Kazam Stadium? I don't think it's called that anymore, is it?
No, it is sadly, yeah.
Sadly. Boo. What? No. Yeah. When it gets rocking, it is a good atmosphere. And yeah, like, again, it's it's a pleasure. It's my pleasure to come on, obviously, and speak to you. Um, and yeah, it's definitely always a team that I follow. You probably would have seen me recently saying, "Oh, I think we got a big win the other week, a few weeks ago now. Can't remember who it was against. Before the Pompey game. Let's not talk about that when we got beat. But I think I tweeted, the Yellows are staying up 100%. And that was probably me being optimistic. And I know there's a slim chance. Still got to hope. I was buzzing when you got promoted. Buzzing. And then to stay up as well was important for the club.
I could talk to you all night, Shay. Right. Following season, you and Curtis Nelson, what a partnership that was. What a
Yeah.
partnership. Has there been a better central defensive partnership for Oxford? Discuss. I don't know. Honestly, that was
I
quite
don't
scary.
know. I liked more. I did like Moore and Brown.
Stop being modest. I want to talk about you and Curtis Nelson.
Okay,
What a
me
duo.
and Curtis are the bouncers. Yeah. No, he's my guy. He's my guy. I gave him a nickname of we used to call him the police officer. Because he was so like, I mean, listen, I'm professional. I do things right. But when I talk about the professionalism of Curtis Nelson, it's up there, second to none. And you know, he was, you know, standards were top. But at the time, and it was back then as well. Like, but I used to always have banter with him saying that he's a police officer, and he used to always snitch on people when when someone was a little bit late, like 20 seconds late. Well, he's like, I sort of going for a good course, you know, you're getting fined. He's going for a good cause. We got, you know, for our Christmas do, etc. But no, very good player. Me and him had a bust up with Swindon when we played against Swindon. You probably heard about that story with Michael Appleton getting. I think it was Bigaroo was giving it sticks or something like that. And to be fair, bless him, you know, he is a good player, Bigaroo, the keeper. He was having himself, and I feel like, you know, me and Nels were like the bouncers and threw our weight around a little bit without speaking too much in the tunnels with the Swindon players. With Michael Appleton, by the way, I'm not trying to get him in trouble, but yes.
Well, you want to be behind him. It was quite a big unit, right? You let Michael Appleton go first.
I was scared of the gaffer. That's one gaffer that I was scared of. I think I'll tell you a story actually. There was one time where me and Nels used to we were like banging gym, was doing a bit of weights, and we was just after training. And the gaffer used to do, you know, gyms as well. He was a unit. You just look at his biceps and how he looked. It was animal. And there was one time where he was doing his weights. I think he was lifting like 40s or something like 40 kg dumbbells. He's doing chest press, whatever. And we didn't say anything to him because we was a bit young. We was like, you know, this is the gaffer. I've got me and Nels have gone into the gym, and Nels he said, "Oh, you're right, Gaff." He's a bit more confident than me. You're right, Gaff. When you finish with them weights, just let me know when you finish with those weights, because me and Shay need it for a warm-up set. Bear in mind, it was a 40 kg dumbbell. You should have seen the face that Gaffer did after he was like, like he wanted to kill us. After that, I was like, you know what? I'm not doing gym, because that Gaffer just looked like he was going to kill us both, literally. But Nels was a little bit more, he'd get away with it, do you know what I mean? Like a bit cheeky chappy, do you know what I mean? But no, Nels, top man, ledge. Still talk to him to this day, to be honest with you. And yeah, a model professional, and it doesn't surprise me that he's gone and had the career that he's had, you know.
You kind of touched on it there, but we had the following season, we had the double over Swindon, 2 incredible wins. If I don't ask you about them, you know, my fan base will switch off. So go on, tell us quickly about those 2 wins against Swindon.
Well, first of all, I will start with, I'll just say 2 names. Well, it's his full name, but 2 names. Rob Hall. And that's all she wrote, man. That goal was a joke. The little twist, manipulate the ball, twist again, and then puts it into top bins. But great player. Coaching at Oxford now, was on the UEFA with him. I think we're both, well, I think he's passed his UEFA as well, and he's actually sharing his wisdom and got into coaching. Very good coach as well. But Rob Hall, top player. We won that game. Was it, how much did we, I just remember that goal. Was it
We won 2-1 at their place,
2-1 at
having
their
got
place
1-0 down, and then we won 2-0 early on in the season at our
early in the
place
season?
with Maguire got a penalty, and there's one
Yeah.
where he charged the goalie down.
Can't remember the one at home, but I do remember a celebration with, I don't know if it was away or home, and it was me and Lego, as in Ledson, Ryan Ledson. And I've got a picture on my Instagram where we're doing that. 7,
Yeah.
which meant 7 in a row. So I've still got that picture on my Instagram.
There's one other amazing game as well, which was Middlesbrough away. 2 crazy minutes, probably the best 2 minutes of my life.
Okay.
We were 2-0 down at Middlesbrough, and then suddenly, like from nowhere, Chris Maguire sticks a free kick in the top corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Martinez, like we break downfield from the
Anthony
kickoff,
Martinez.
and we equalise, and it's 2-2. And it's like the
Yeah.
craziest 2 minutes ever. And we'd taken so many fans up that day. Do you remember that day? I lumped a huge amount of
You
money
know
on
what?
you to score a goal that day.
I remember us getting the 2 late goals. Now you say it. Anthony Martinez, what a player he is, man. Or where is he at? Is he Porto? Is he at? He's somewhere. He's somewhere abroad. Really good player. Ended up going. He was come through at West Ham. I think we had him on loan from West Ham.
Yeah.
But yeah, now you're mentioning these memories, like it's just coming because it's been a long time. It
10
has been
years.
a long time. Yeah, so yeah, man. Like I really did enjoy my time there at Oxford. I really did. It's progressed. We've had legends who've gone on to play for the club after myself, like Brannigan, who I rave about all the time. And it's good to see your previous clubs doing well.
Listen, I think you've mentioned so many times in this interview, like how much love and respect you have for Oxford United. And I think as well, it is totally mutual with the fans. Even the 7-0 or 7-1 you beat us with
Oh
Wigan.
yeah, yeah,
Even
yeah,
at the end, like you came over and you're really respectful to the fans. I think the fans really appreciated that as well.
yeah.
And
I
as you
didn't
say,
really celebrate that. I didn't really celebrate it. It was nice to win, but yeah, I remember that game and we won. And I remember, I think Bigaroo, because we had a bit of history before that. The year before, we had a bit of history with Bigaroo. Never really. He was at Swindon. He hated Oxford. There was something going on, obviously because of the rivalry, and he actually said something about it on Twitter, saying, "Oh yeah, like Oxford got smashed 7-0 or whatever." And I think I went back on Twitter and I says, "All right, hold on a minute, mate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't give it the bigger. Like, you stay where you are, kind of thing." And that was me, obviously playing for Wigan. So I don't know if that put a downer on it because I was like, "Yeah, I'll enjoy the victory, of course. Obviously, I want to win." But when there's other players getting involved and you're not even a part of the team that beat, like, who gives you the given right? Do you know what I mean? Because any team can get beaten bad.
Shay, I loved you as a player, and I love you even more now as a man. Thank you so much for your time on the
Oh, no
podcast.
worries, Dan.
Really, really, really appreciate it. And it's
It's
been
my pleasure.
amazing. I could talk to you forever and ever. So many lovely
Yeah.
memories, and what a great team and what a great guy. So thank you very, very much.
No, thank you very much, Dan. Thanks for having me and up the yellows.
Dan, wow, you've done you've done us proud there. What a lovely guy, and what really came across is how much he loved being an Oxford player. He loved his time at the club. Yeah, had a great relationship with the manager, with his fellow players. That really came across.
He's honestly such a nice guy. Yeah, I was so pleased. I've been trying to get him on since pretty much day one of the podcast, and he said, "Yeah, really happy to do it." And then, life got in the way, and then I forgot to message him back. But earlier on this week, I just messaged him and said, "It's 10 years since that glorious thing." He said, "Is it 10 years?" He said, "Right, I'm definitely coming on." Like no bother at all. And yeah, what a lovely guy, and what an amazing team
Oh,
that
it
was.
really was. And Dan, you've spoken a lot about that team possibly being your favourite team, and as you say, it's remarkably 10 years ago. What are your memories of that season, being a fan and following that side?
Do you know, Matt? I think for the first time since 1996, like 20 years, we had a team that you actually loved watching. That team was so attack minded. The number of goals we scored, the style of football, Lundstrom spraying passes about, Roof and Hilton up front just causing absolute chaos. Maguire, Callum O'Dowd. I mean, it was just a ridiculous thing. Jordan Bowery coming in, like, every time you thought this team couldn't get any better, they got better. And honestly, it would have been a travesty if they didn't go up. And so nice for a player like Chey Dunkley to score the goal that set us on set us on the way, that glorious May Day 20 years ago.
Oh, what a team!
What a
And like you say, it was a team that we really fell in love with. Well, listeners, I hope we've put a bit of a smile on your face this week because we've done things a bit differently and we're going to continue to do things a bit differently. We're going to give you a Nicky Banger a game. Of course we are. We wouldn't take that away from you. But we are going to do it with a bit of a twist this week. It's going to be a stats-based Nicky Banger game. And who better to provide that than our very own statsman himself, Theo.
Nicky Banger. Nicky Banger. Nicky Banger. Nicky Banger. Nicky Banger. Nicky Banger. Nicky Banger game.
Thanks, Matt. So I've got a bunch of statistics in front of me, and I'm going to reel off how we did on those statistics last season, and you guys are going to tell me whether we did higher or lower this season in comparison.
Okay.
No prizes for guessing what the most common answer might be, but here we go.
Can I go lower for all of them?
You wouldn't get full marks.
All right. See how we go.
All right.
Right, so very telling. First statistic, home wins.
Ooh.
Last season we got 11.
This
I'm going to go
this
lower.
has to be lower. I mean, it has to be lower
It is lower. Only 7 home wins
Only
this
7,
season.
yeah.
Big, which is not really
Because
good
home
enough, is
victories
it?
last year were kind of our thing, weren't they? But yeah,
They were, and you can reel off, can't you? Those home games where we should have done more.
100%.
The Bristol City and QPR ones we
Yeah.
talked about, Hull maybe,
Yeah.
Charlton. So yeah, some
Okay.
kind of thrown away
An
there.
easy
for sure.
kickoff there, Theo. What's next?
Easy kickoff. Possibly also quite easy. Longest unbeaten run. Last season we did 9 under Rowett.
Yeah. Wait.
It's
Okay,
lower
I'm going to go
again,
lower, but
surely.
can Dan and I guess the number back?
Yes. So you're correct. It's lower. Bonus point for who
I'm
gets
going to
closest.
go for 5.
5.
I'm going to go for 4.
It is 4.
God, that's
And that was
miserable,
the
isn't it?
recent run under
Yeah.
Bloomfield.
God, that's poor.
Number of clean sheets. Last season we managed 13.
Ooh, this is a tough one. This is just the league, yeah?
Just the league, yeah.
Not that would really help. Lower. I'm going lower.
It is lower again. How much lower? Do you want to have a guess? How
I
many we
reckon
got
probably
this
only
year?
got 9.
I was going to say no. I'll say 8 just to be different.
Yeah, it's 8. So a swing of 5 clean sheets.
Am I getting bonus points here, Theo?
Yeah, I'll make a note. Okay, this is a bit of an interesting one. So the points per game after the new manager came in. So from Rowett's first game on Boxing Day onwards, and obviously from Bloomfield starting in January.
Higher.
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 I'll go lower.
What?
It is lower, but it's only just lower. We did 1.4 under Rowett last season, points per game, 1.25. So we say what a wonderful job Rowett did last season. Bloomfield hasn't been that far off replicating that in terms of points per game.
Okay.
Just one thing on Rowett, which I thought is I don't know if it's sort of funny or not, but since that run of 9 unbeaten, he has managed 47 championship games between us and Leicester, and he's won 6. Right.
That means I've won. I've won, but I think we should
I think we
keep
should keep going because they get a bit more interesting. They get a bit more interesting after that. It does. So set piece goals conceded. Last season, 9.
Yeah,
Higher.
got to be, isn't it?
It is higher. How much higher?
14.
I was going to say 14. 13.
19.
Oh.
So for reference, last year we scored 21 goals. So conceded 9. So that's a set piece goal difference, if you like, of plus 12. This year we've lost the set pieces. Minus
Really?
1
That's
goal
not
difference
good,
on
is
set
it?
pieces. It's not good when you're battling away for every little bit of difficult.
Okay. What we got?
Right, 2 more. XG difference. So this is the difference between our XG scored and XG conceded.
Well, there's times this season we haven't looked like scoring at all, so it must be lower.
So sorry so the XG difference last year was minus 25.3. So
okay.
that was the
So lower would be we were better, right?
lower, well, closer to 0 would be
Yeah.
we're better.
This
like
is hurting
goal difference.
mine and Dan's brand.
Yeah,
I'm going to go lower. I think I
earlier.
understand the question. I think I'm going to go lower.
So this time, minus 6.7 goal difference. This
So we got
XG
that
goal
right?
difference. Well, technically lower would have been like minus 30, but I think I knew what you meant, so I think we'll give it to you. But it's interesting, Dan, we were saying on our WhatsApp group about how like last year we just got a bit luckier than we have this season at times, and a lot of the stats we've just shown then probably don't point to that, but this sort of does. It's like last year the rolling of the ball sort of went for us, and that's shown by this massive difference in XG last season compared to this. Final one. So the idea of this stat is to sort of get at the competitiveness of the league rather than anything we've done. So I was trying to find something that would make, like, say, if it's harder or easier than last season. That's pretty much impossible because it's all relative to what's in the league at the time. But just to show it's the competitiveness, the points gap between 10th and 20th last year was 14 points at the end of the season. How much is it now? Higher or lower?
I'm going to go higher.
I'll go lower.
It's lower. It's only 11 points between 10th and 20th place this season, maybe hinting at a more competitive league and more difficult if you're at the bottom end of those statistics to get points if everyone else is of a reasonable standard.
Dan is the winner. Dan is the winner.
Dan is
I
the winner,
enjoyed
yeah.
that. Theo, would you stick around for our final link of the episode when we're going to look ahead, aren't we, Dan? And we are going to look ahead to the final game of the season. There's nothing to play for, but it is Millwall away. Dan, will you be going?
I am going to be going.
I'll be going as well. Theo, will you
Yeah.
make it, or will it be a TV watch?
I will make it. I've got a 6:30 a.m. coach book.
Right, so are we all going fancy dress? And if so, what are we going as? I vote for Dan as Banana Man. Any ideas?
Too many obvious votes there. Yeah.
Near Julian Allsop.
Click that one up for social.
Yeah.
Should be a lot of fun though, right?
Should be a lot of fun. Talking fancy dress, Matt, at Millwall, a long time ago, it must have been the 92 season, I was working in retail at the time, and a sports company came in and gave us loads of free headbands. And we were playing Millwall that very night. So I took a whole load of the headbands from the shop, which were free. They were free, to be fair. And I took them down to Millwall and I handed them out because at the time we had Steve Foster and Trevor Aylott fighting for us. So we had like probably 300 or 400 Oxford fans wearing Steve Foster.
You handed them out to Oxford fans? No, it's
I handed
brilliant.
them out to Oxford on the old den.
Oh,
that
wow.
was. So there
What
we
a
go.
scene.
So I'm going to go as Steve Foster and Trevor Aylott. Old
Do it. That would be good. That would be good. But yeah, should be a lot of fun. And final question, Theo. Are you a glass half full or a glass half empty man heading into League One, looking ahead to League One next season?
A pretty glass half full, if I'm honest. I think I've enjoyed being in the Championship. I'm slightly fed up of watching a team battling in low margin games. I understand all the financial benefits of being in the league. I understand we need to be here, etc., etc. But I am looking forward to being on the front foot and attacking teams next season. I think we've got a good core of a team that we're taking into League One. We'll lose a couple. There's a bunch that we'll desperately be trying to get rid of. But I think we take heart from January's transfer window, where the sort of recruitment angle was sort of back at what we expect from Oxford United and what we want. I hope they stick with that. And I just hope we give Bloomfield time. I think those first 10 games could be really tough. And it might not be. It won't be an easy start. We know it's not an easy league. And I hope we just don't, as a fan base, don't turn on him early and just give him a chance. Like, look at Plymouth this season, stuck with Cleverley, might just nip themselves into the playoffs after a really good start.
That's a quite a cheery way to end this episode, Dan. And I think
I feel pretty
it's
good. I compared to the relegations in the early noughties, sure, I was a lot younger, which probably meant they hurt more. But I don't know. I didn't feel that sad yesterday. I've got to be honest.
Dan, hopefully this episode we've managed to cheer any Oxford fans who are feeling a bit negative after yesterday. We managed to cheer them up with this episode. So let's not call this the relegation episode. Let's call it the cheering people up episode.
Lovely stuff. See you soon, everyone.
Cheers.